Chuck Cecil was a guy who played for the Cardinals, and I just remember this from when he was with the Cardinals. Every game, he cut this area, and blood would be running down his nose.
Head made of stone.
And that's what Dan Quinn was yesterday because he got bowled over by Marcus Mariota on the sideline.
Here it is.
I'm surprised he wasn't concussed. I don't know if the backward hat saved him. I don't know if the bill kind of kept him from hitting harder. Take that, Colin Cowherd. But he took a hell of a blow. And there's so much happening on the sideline of a game, you always got to be watching yourself. And even then, oh, man, that just had to hurt.
No, it does.
That had to hurt.
I mean, he's got to have a headache today. He's in concussion protocol for sure.
Banged in the back and busted in the front and blood coming down his nose. And he has a game ball. And most importantly, the Commanders get the victory. They move to 2-1, 41-27 over the Raiders. This is superlatives time.
Yeah.
I have worked very diligently to prepare for this. So.
Right.
Be ready for something.
I got
brilliant.
mine. If you
what do you got?
Me to go first.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to use the superlative of similar skill sets, right? And now I'm going to say that in the fact of that's why you get a quarterback with a similar skill set as your starting quarterback, and you have a backup do the same thing. Since the offense doesn't need to be reinvented, you can stay within the realm of what you do and don't have to go, wait, well, this guy's not Jaden Daniels, so we have to totally just turn and play a different way on offense. Mariota's not Jaden Daniels, but he has the same skill set. When you're the Raiders, you're going, well, we still got to worry about Mariota keeping the ball around the edge or a quarterback design run, just like we would do with Jaden Daniels. And I think that's the beauty of that. So the offense gets to play the same way. And I'm just impressed. I've said this a lot with Cliff Kingsbury and his fortitude in the running game. And every week they seem to put up big numbers that way. And Mariota, of course, is one of the more talented backups in the sport. He did a really good job. They controlled that football game yesterday.
When you have two dramatically different quarterbacks, it puts so much stress on the rest of the offense because you've got one playbook for the starter and you've got another playbook or another area of the playbook for the backup.
Right,
so you've got to completely adjust and adapt because you're going to be running completely different plays, dealing with a completely different player, and it really does impact the rest of the offense. That's a good one from you. For me, and I could go snarky here and make a comment along the lines of Tom Brady's inside information from week one really didn't
I know you want to do that.
Right. And you know, the problem is people are going to downplay. Anytime the Raiders lose to a team whose games Tom Brady had previously worked, they're like, oh, great advantage there. But regardless, there is an advantage, and let's just leave it at that. I'm going to say scheduling matters. And this thing bothers me, and I hope the NFL takes a look at this. Washington played Thursday night to start week 2. Mm-hmm. The Raiders finished at 1 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday morning, and both meet on Sunday. There's got to be a way to balance that out. If you're going to hamstring a team and have them play the back end of a doubleheader and play until 1 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday, and I know that they played the game Pacific time, but they're playing on Sunday in the Eastern time zone, so let's compare apples to apples. Have them play a Sunday team the next week, not a Thursday team.
Right.
It's just one of those, I know there's a bunch of moving parts and they've got AI and it's computers and all that shit at this point, but there's got to be a way to factor in not putting a team in the position the Raiders were in where they had to travel across the country with limited rest to play a team that had extra rest.
Right.
And I'm not making excuses or justifying it, but that's got to be a factor.
Yeah.
So with a backup quarterback, hey, that's a negative if you're the Commanders. Here's the positive. We had extra time to rest and recover and prepare, and the Raiders were shorthanded.
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders shorthanded. The Raiders, I think, still finding their way under Pete Carroll. I mean, not a good game by them here. The game started off with Deebo Samuel and, a 90-yard kick return that put the ball down at like the 15, 20-yard line, somewhere in there. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, the 27-yard line. We had a 90-yard punt return by Jalen Lane from Virginia Tech, right, at one point of the football game too. I like the Raiders' defense. I think they're a pain in the butt for the most part, but I don't think they have big-time players there. It's the same thing you've heard me say the last few years. There's just not enough big-time players there. Offensively, Ashton Genty looks nothing like a top 10 pick. He's yet to impress me the slightest bit. And it just feels like Chip Kelly's offense doesn't have a lot to offer other than if you give them some big throws down the field, they'll hit that. But if you take that away, like we saw the Chargers do last Monday night, and as this game went on, it gets taken away until late in the game when it's over, then it's like, oh, wait, what else do they have on offense? And that's the thing you question about the Raiders as we go forward here. It seems like it's very dependent on Geno make a huge throw down the field. If that doesn't happen, we don't have other ways to move the ball. We're not surgical. We can't dominate in the run game, and that's an issue for them right now out there in Las Vegas.
What do you think Tom Brady's doing when he's got a 4:25 p.m. call and the Raiders are on at 1 Eastern? Because they're not on at 1 Eastern very often. I wonder if he was walking around the field looking at his phone, watching the game.
Yeah,
like that,
I wonder.
That's a practical illustration of the two roles of Tom Brady. He's getting ready to call a game, and the team that he owns is playing a game at the same time. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take the first one here.
Oh, well, I know you are because we're going to talk about the Vikings.
The Vikings beat the Bengals 48-10, and it's funny because I was out doing errands on Friday. Like, that's the day that I try to be a normal human being, as normal as I possibly can. And I was thinking, oh, the Bengals. I remember 1992, the Vikings played in Cincinnati, and they beat Dave Shula, 42-7.
Wow!
And David Klingler was the quarterback of the Bengals. 42-7. Man, those were the days when the Vikings were good enough to beat a team like that. And then, boom, 48-10. Boom. Now that's just one of those. Once it starts, it doesn't stop. You can't replicate that. This doesn't mean the Vikings are suddenly a Super Bowl team, much less a playoff team, because I still think they may miss the playoffs. But yesterday, and here's my superlative, it's exactly what I texted to Paul Allen, voice of the Vikings, at halftime of the game, because I didn't want to bother him while he was working. They signed the right Rodgers. That's my superlative.
I like that.
Isaiah was a free agent. Aaron was a free agent. Both wanted to play there, and they picked the right guy. That was just incredible. And I know there's an element of luck that goes into it, but Harrison Smith, first game back, had an illness that caused him to miss the first two, tipped the ball. Rodgers caught it, and they always say, hey, that's why he plays defense. He can't catch. He caught it and was gone. The second one was incredible. The second one, and we're first going to show you the tip pass that he returned 87 yards for a touchdown. He told me after the game, he watches the Jumbotron to see who's chasing him. Because I said, we see so many guys turn their heads. He said, if I do that, I would have run sideways if I would have looked back. I had to use the Jumbotron to see that there was no one in position to get me. But what a return, what speed. He's just gone. The lineman thought he had an angle. This is like an obstacle illusion, as a wise man once said. Like, there's the big hit, but where's the ball?
He took the ball away before that.
He's got the ball.
Right.
He stripped the ball before the hit that I thought rattled the ball loose, and there he went. 2 defensive touchdowns in the same game. Watch this. Here he comes in with the peanut punch. There, the ball's out, and I thought the hit's what jarred the ball. And it's like, where's the ball? Where's the ball? He's got the ball. And then on the next drive, he punched the ball out again.
He did.
And the Vikings recovered.
It was a day of days.
It was one of those where they should have had a running clock in the second half. It was embarrassing.
Right.
It was, can we just get out of here? Hopefully nobody gets injured. The game was over. There was no way the Bengals were coming back. Isaiah Rodgers was incredible. It was a great move by the Vikings, who desperately need competent players in the back end of the defense. They got one.
He's a really good player. He got a bad rap because he got suspended for gambling in Indianapolis.
And it wasn't gambling.
It wasn't.
It wasn't integrity of the game
Explain
gambling.
It
was guy who was gambling, right?
It was something minor, checking in the facility, right?
Yeah. I think it was one of the, like Jameson Williams, it's okay if you stand out on the street and do it, but if you walk inside the door, thou shalt be suspended.
NBA game, and he did it in the facility. Yeah. He is a guy that can play man-to-man. He runs like 4.3 flat. He was a great addition for the Eagles last year in their secondary. I bet you they wish they had him still. Brian Flores knows cover corners, and he got him. Hey, my superlative is who's playing quarterback? Jake from State Farm? I mean, geez, Jake Browning. Is he just going to – I thought, I thought, again, he's thrown 3 interceptions basically in the last 2.5 quarters of last week's game against Jacksonville. Here's 2 more today. We showed that, or yesterday we showed the first one to Isaiah Rodgers, which was a dicey decision. On the run, somebody in your face, and then Harrison Smith is right behind him with also another crowd of guys around the intended receiver. I mean, that's not what they expected. The Bengals are 2-1, and they've been outplayed in all 3 games they've played so far. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if the what is it? The roof collapses on them. The floor falls out.
And they're 2-1. That's what's weird.
They don't deserve to be, but they found ways to win those first 2 games. But yeah, I was expecting more from their offense yesterday with a guy like Jake Browning, who's been around for a while, knows that offense and everything. That was a butt whooping.
It makes you wonder what they're going to do. There aren't a lot of options out there by way of free agent.
Right.
A trade could be possible. You've got Jameis Winston.
They won't trade
around.
Anybody.
Well,
maybe for a Jameis Winston, they're not going to trade like a Kirk Cousins, but a Jameis Winston maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Based on the way the Falcons played yesterday, they may want to keep
right.
Kirk Cousins around. Let's take a break. When we return, and look, it was a big day, and on other days this would have been the biggest headline. And Browns, we apologize, but the Cleveland Browns is not the Browns. They pulled off the upset of the day. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.